Distinguished guests, delegates, participants, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning. On behalf of Federation Contact Association of Nepal, I stand before you with immense gratitude and deep sense of appreciation as we bring the International Forum on Partnering in Sustainable Infrastructure to close. As the Senior Vice President of FCAN, it is an honor and privilege to extend my heartfelt thanks to each and everyone who has contributed for the success of this event. First and foremost, I would like to express our sincere appreciation to our chief guest, the Right Honorable Prime Minister Pushpakumar Dahal Prachanda, for gracing in his presence and his unwavering commitment to sustainable infrastructure development. Your leadership and support have been instrumental in making this forum a resounding success. I extend my deepest gratitude to Mr. Ravi Singh, President of IFAWPCA and FCAN, for his visionary leadership and tireless efforts in steering the course of this forum. Your dedication to the cause of sustainable infrastructure has set a remarkable precedent for all of us to follow. A special thanks to Mr. Levy, Executive Director of IFAWPCA, for the valuable partnership and collaboration that made this forum possible. IFAWPCA's commitment to advancing sustainable infrastructure to a global scale is truly commendable. I would also like to acknowledge Mr. Brendraj Pandey, Secretary General of IFAWPCA, for providing insightful reflection of past forums. Your wisdom and experience have added depth to our discussions and paved the way for a more informed dialogue. Our sincere appreciation goes to Mr. Dr. Bindunath Lohani for introducing our distinguished keynote speaker, Mr. Tan Singh, whose enlightening address has set the tone for the crucial conversation we have had a sustainable infrastructure. A heartfelt thanks to all the esteemed panelists who has participated in the insightful panel discussion, Mr. Sushil Babu Dakal, Mr. Sri Krishna Nepal, Mr. Haidar Raja, Mr. Anurad, Mr. Olive. Your diverse perspective and expertise have enriched our understanding of the challenges and opportunities in the sustainable infrastructure development. I extend our gratitude to Mr. Anil Chitrakar, our esteemed moderator, for skillfully guiding the panel discussion and ensuring a robust exchange of ideas. Your contribution has been invaluable and shaping the discourse of sustainable infrastructure. A special motion to Dr. Nelson, CEO of FIDIC, for the recorded message and presentation, adding a global perspective of our discussions. I also want to thank all participants, government officials, project developers, investors, and representatives from the various sectors who have joined us from across the globe. Your active participation has made this forum a melting pot of diverse insights and perspectives. We conclude this forum. Let us carry forward the spirit of collaboration, innovation, and commitment to sustainable infrastructure. The challenges ahead are insignificant, but with the collective wisdom and determination displayed here, I am confident that we can create a legacy of sustainable and resilient infrastructure for generations to come. In closing, I express my deepest gratitude to each and everyone for being part of this transformative journey. Thank you all for your time. Thank you.
Thank you very much to our Senior Vice President of FCAN, Mr. Angdorji Lama, for the vote of thanks. Ladies and gentlemen, with this, we come towards the end of the second half of our forum. We are now heading towards some lunch break, and we'd like to request all our distinguished guests and delegates to kindly be back inside this hall in an hour. Thank you very much, and have a lovely afternoon ahead. Thank you all.
Delegates from IFAWPCA member countries, YCNC members, ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome you all to the 46th IFAWPCA convention here in Nepal. It's my pleasure to welcome you all on behalf of IFAWPCA for this Emerging Young Leaders EYL program with the theme Empowering Tomorrow's Leader, Sharing Experiences and Building Bridges. We are honored to have our keynote speaker, Ms. Aisha Nuren Jana. Ms. Jana is currently Executive Vice Chairman at Hotels Resorts Construction Private Limited, an award-winning contractor providing turnkey resort construction services. She is also a founder of Rehendei Consulting, a global social enterprise innovating leadership coaching. And also panelist, Mr. Nicholas Pandey, advisor of FCAN and founding president of YCNC, who with the team of young contractors and second generation contractors initiated the formation of YCNC back in 2014. Mr. Anand Prasad Subedi, other panelist, past president of YCNC and director of Tundi Construction and Tundi Power Company Private Limited. Mrs. Avigya Malla, board member of IPAN and director of High Himalaya Hydro Construction Private Limited. Mr. Abhusan Jyoti Kansakar, board member of YCNC and CEO of Devjyoti Group. And youth participants here from different member countries to share their experiences. Hope you all had a very fruitful forum this morning, and also having good time here in 46th IFAWPCA convention. We are gathered here today for this EYL program because we believe in the power of young people. Youths are the forefront of change and innovation, and many have the spirits to make it happen. We just need to give a space to excel. And we know we are recognized for our qualities. We can create a strong society together. With a similar vision, we, a group of young and second generation contractors, established YCNC with the vision to be catalyst for the change and modernization of construction industry in 2014. And also we got the support from our seniors and also FCAN during that time. So we hope this program will provide a platform for all of us to discuss just how we can do that. I encourage all youths here to participate and engage fully and make new connections and share your valuable ideas. We look forward to continuing this partnership with young contractors of Asia and Western Pacific region for driving sustainable development in our society. And I'd like to thank Mr. Mohammad Jana, immediate past president of IFAWPCA, for his initiation, for initiating this EYL concept during his tenure last year in 45th IFAWPCA convention, and also like to thank Mr. Ravi Singh for continuing this program. At last, I'd like to thank President Mr. Ravi Singh for giving YCNC an opportunity to lead this EYL program. Once again, welcome you all to this EYL program and 46th IFAWPCA convention. Have a very fruitful day to you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Shrestha, for your welcome address. And now, ladies and gentlemen, for the introduction to the EYL Emerging Young Leaders Program and the program briefing, may I please invite on stage IFAWPCA Secretary General, Engineer Birendra Raj Pandey.
Thank you. IFAWPCA President, delegates, esteemed speakers, and dear young leaders, what a delight. Today we are having a very interesting conference of emerging young leaders, and well said, President, about the power of young people. So we are excited to share that the Emerging Young Leaders program has officially begun in the Maldives Convention. It's crucial for us to support and uplift young leaders across various industries because we believe the future rests in your capable hands. As we step into new era, customers are increasingly valuing the processes behind the product we deliver. This morning, we delved into the challenges of our industry faces due to the harsh impact of climate change and natural disasters. Globally, there is a concerted effort to curb greenhouse gas emission and adapt these challenges. Amidst these challenges, the construction industry bears a significant responsibility as well. The construction industry contributes to a substantial portion of carbon emissions, which significantly impact climate change. As we strive for sustainable practices, it's crucial to address these environmental concerns, the adverse effects of climate change, from the extreme weather events to rising sea levels, directly affect our projects and communities. However, with these challenges come opportunities as well. Initiatives to reduce environmental impact in construction are gaining traction. Green building practices, renewable energy integration, and sustainable materials are becoming integral to responsible construction. As leaders in the industry, it's our responsibility to drive the positive change, and especially being the young leaders is even more important. I'm confident that today's country presentations will shed light on innovative approaches to tracking these challenges. Our esteemed keynote speaker, a dynamic leader from Maldives, from where we initiated this program, will provide valuable insights. Additionally, we have young leaders, very dynamic ones, will share the diverse experiences, and we are eager to listen to their perspective. Being a young leader is the responsibility of the organizations like IFAWPCA to nurture and motivate the young breed of leadership so that our traditions of IFAWPCA can go ahead. Your presence today is truly appreciated. Once again, welcome, and let's engage in a meaningful discussion about shaping the sustainable and responsible future. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Engineer Pandey, for the program briefing and for also shedding some light on emerging young leaders. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to shine a spotlight on the emerging young leaders in the construction sector. The energy and innovative spirit of the youth definitely play a pivotal role in shaping the future of sustainable infrastructure, and we are extremely excited to present an insightful and inspiring session featuring these emerging young leaders. Their contribution and their vision within the construction sector really promise to be both enlightening and motivating as well. So let's welcome this opportunity to dive into their perspective and their innovative ideas towards a sustainable infrastructure. We hope that their presentation will inspire us and will also ignite a new wave of enthusiasm and commitment towards a more sustainable future. We will now have presentation by each country's emerging young leader on a construction project from their country, and the time allocated for each team or each individual would be 10 minutes. So I request all the presenters to kindly keep that in mind. We're starting with Bangladesh's Association of Construction Industry, and may I please invite Mr. Zarif to join me on stage.
Forward, what's back? Thank you. Okay, hello and good afternoon, everybody. My name is Zarif Haq, and I am delighted to be here in the 46th IFAWPCA Convention. Thank you so much, members of FCAN, for hosting this program. It has really been nice, the couple of days and nights we've spent here. I am also proud to represent my country of Bangladesh and represent BASI, the Bangladesh Association of Construction Industrialists. I would like to thank Mr. Roy, our president, for giving me this platform. And so before I begin my presentation, I must put a disclaimer out to everybody here. I have only been involved in this industry for a couple of years. Prior to this, I was a musician, if you couldn't tell from the way I look. And so I have very limited experience with the construction industry, but however, I will try my best to shed light on what I have learned. And the project I will be sharing with you is from one of my own companies, and I am sharing a private construction project. I am aware that there are many of you here who work on government projects, who work on many, many large-scale projects. But since I am very young and new to this, I am only involved in private construction, housing, commercial buildings. And so hopefully this will still hit a tone with some of you. I have a question to everybody here, to all the non-Bangladeshis. Could I have a raise of hand, people who have visited Bangladesh? Okay, some of you here. So when you think of Bangladesh, you may think of these kinds of scenes. You may think of our lush green environment. You may think of our booming agriculture. You may also think of our historical sites, our monuments dedicated to our martyrs, our freedom fighters who have fought for our independence, our famous Red Fort built during the Mughal period. And indeed, that is Bangladesh. Those structures do represent Bangladesh. But Bangladesh is also this. It is an urban jungle. And it is amidst this urban jungle through which we carry out our progress. And I wanted to give this context to all of you because the difficulties we face in Bangladesh is all related to the structure of our city life and what you're seeing here right now. During yesterday's assembly, I heard one term being used a lot, and that is fellowship and collaboration through diversity. Now, I kept thinking, why does that sound so familiar to me? And the reason was, if you just change one word, then that really describes the situation for construction in Bangladesh. Because in Bangladesh, it is not fellowship and collaboration through diversity, it is fellowship and collaboration through adversity. There is a lot of, those of you who have been to Bangladesh, you know that our main city of Dhaka is the booming hub through which we get our economic growth, through which we have made a lot of progress. Our chief delegate, Mr. Probal, yesterday has told all of you that how we are growing as a nation slowly, and we're being recognized by the rest of the world as a truly emerging country. And I just wanted to shed some light on that, because it is the private construction industry in Bangladesh must go through several challenges. And so I will present to you one such private project. This is a GQ Shefali Tower built by Building for Future Limited. That would be my company, and that we had started this project in March 2020. Now that date may, you might recognize that date because that is when COVID started. And through all of it, we have still managed to carry out our progress, and I consider this quite an immense success that we have been able to do so. And within the next few months, we hope to complete this project. Shefali is the name of a flower. In all our projects are named after flowers which we can find in our country. Now, some challenges we faced. Prior to this building construction, I had only experience in brick structures and normal reinforced concrete cement structures. We had some difficulties in this fair face concreting with soap structure on top. This is not a very typical design. And if you can recall the previous slides, the whole urban jungle landscape of Bangladesh, it is indeed quite a labor to get through, to build designs like this, to get through construction with these kinds of structures. We use aluminum composite panels in a very non-traditional way. That being that usually we would take the panels and displace them, but because of the particular design of the structure, our architect insisted that we cut them into specific shapes and therefore create an aesthetic, something that will stand out in such a busy city. And as such, the exterior glasses are also used in different shapes and punched in the concrete surface just to add a unique aesthetic. Now, I have talked about some of these challenges. Some things I did not talk about is the ever-changing landscape of Bangladesh. since we are a developing country, there are constant policy changes, government policy changes, road traffic issues, and it is amidst all of that that we have actually been able to find a really great amount of success. And the highest of which I believe is even during the COVID-19 pandemic, we continued to work maintaining our security and our safety standards. And thankfully, none of our workers were harmed. They're all living very healthy, happy lives, and hopefully they're going to be finishing up this project very soon. And also, our customers were highly pleased, or it seems they're highly pleased with the fantastic architectural beauty and the workmanship which we have done. Much credit to our architect, who is not presently here, but he would have loved to have been. And since this is a private project, the funding for this was rather straightforward. There was no bank finance needed. We got this from, the money was financed from regular installments from the buyers of the commercial spaces of this building. And that truly has been, and even during the COVID-19 pandemic, we did not have any issues getting the installments. And as a result, we are able, despite all the adversity, to finish up this project within the next few months. And as it is not funded by the government, or Bangladesh or the World Bank, I could not really gather any other information regarding funding issues or little small details, insights which I could share with you, as it has been completely privately funded. Now, one of the things, before I conclude my presentation, I would like to highlight something very important to Bangladesh, and that is our man management and labor force. Now, some of you may know this, that Bangladesh has an immensely vast labor market, and they are really the backbone of our nation. Without them, we could not have had such growth and development over these years. And throughout the development of this particular project, I learned that the most important thing in our country is man management at every level, from the ground up, from the building is first being started, from the foundations to the final handover. Every person at every level needs to be focused and in direct communication, constant communication, in order to build up, whether it is this project or any other project. The labor force in Bangladesh is a double-edged sword. It can give us a lot. They truly are the backbone of our country, but we also have to manage them because they are not all from a privileged class like us. And therefore, management protocols must be set in place at every level, from top to bottom, and that is the one thing I learned the most here. On top of that, I also learned many safety and security protocols, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic, especially considering our road issues, our policy changes, and whatnot. I also learned a little bit of how to perform good quality, fair-face concreting, and how to accomplish slope steel shuttering by staging works, and most importantly, alucarbon composite panel fixing. And I keep reiterating this because it is so important. The one thing I learned most is labor management, that without the people, we are nothing. And the more we support our country, the more we support our people, the more we connect with them, the better it is for our development. The best developers in this country, they are well connected to their labor staff. They work on the ground level. They work with them even sometimes. And it is those companies, those organizations which really thrive and has allowed us to put our country in such a good place. And we're looking forward for the next few decades because Bangladesh is hoping to be quite a global force in the years to come. I would like to thank everybody here for the time. I am sorry I could not share much more than what I have now, but I'm truly honored to be here and to be able to share all this with you and also represent my country. Thank you. So I am a guitarist, but I can also sing. I play jazz mostly, so if anybody wants me to play or wants me to play with you, I will be available for the Final Nights program. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Haq, for your presentation and also for sharing your learnings through your presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, I would now like to invite on stage Mr. Angelo from Philippines Constructors Association to kindly present and talk to us about his project.
President Rabi Singh of IFAWPCA and all the other distinguished guests, fellow delegates, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I am Angelo Dio Agoncillo of PCA. I am a civil engineer by profession. Right now, I am currently heading our infrastructure division, which deals with our rail projects, water projects, roads, and bridges. I also head our precast, formworks, and equipment departments, which deals with the maintenance, deployment, and operations of those departments. And I'm also the director of the Association of Carriers and Equipment Lessors of the Philippines, which deals with light and heavy equipment, construction equipment in the Philippines. So enough about me. I'm here to present about one of our projects, or my company's projects. It's called the Galleon. It composes, official title of it is Galleon Residences and Office Towers. Okay. So the Galleon project is a 52-story, two-tower with podium development. Consists of 6 basements, 2 floors of commercial area, 5 floors of parking levels, and quite a number of floors for office and residential towers, residential areas. Total construction floor area is 210,000 square meters. So this is located in the heart of Manila, one of the central business districts in Manila. So basically, we designated, or to utilize the sequence of work, we separated the building footprint into areas so we could efficiently construct the footprint of the project. So this is for the podium, which expanded into 8 areas from the 6 areas of the basement. We used 3 tower cranes and 2 placing booms. And when it will come to the tower area, we will be just using one tower crane and 1 placing boom. Okay, for the challenges faced, actually this project is an early contractor involvement type of project. What does that mean? Usually, when a project is being developed, the contractor is not involved. It's only the designer and the client. But now, the client or the owner decided to involve the contractor in the design stage. So what is the advantage of that? So during the design stage, the contractor already can give his inputs in what are the best methodologies, what are the most efficient ways we can deliver the project. So the secret for this model is we had to balance the designer's demands and our methodologies. So that took collaboration, communication, and of course compromise from both or all the parties. For the success of this project, we utilized 2 special formwork system which came from MEVA. MEVA is a German formwork system supplier. Is their MAC system and their MEVA deck. First, I'll tackle the MAC system. The MAC system is a system designed so we can construct the core wall or the shear walls first, rather than waiting for the whole floor to be constructed and waiting for the core wall to erect. So this turned out to be a very critical aspect of the design during the ECI, because the critical path was removed from the floor from the floor area and was transferred to the core wall, which meant 25 less manpower to construct this project. So ideally, the core wall should be at least 3 floors above your active construction floor. So we utilize this. This is the MEVA deck. Oh, sorry, the MAC system. Next is the MEVA deck. The MEVA deck is also a system from MEVA which utilizes a flat slab design. Flat slab meaning there are no beams. There's only one flat slab, and the beams were incorporated through post-tension concrete and tendons. So the whole floor is only flat. There are no low-lying beams, completely flat. And also MEVA deck, we can strip the formworks at an earlier stage because the shoring are already built in the system. We can remove the panels from the slab, but the shoring of the slab will not be affected. And these are the rebar and the post-tensioning of the tendons. Stressing works after concreting. And then post-tensioning of the rebars and the tendons, sorry. Also, for the external walls, we utilize the precast system. Our company is the pioneer of the precast wall and slab system in our country. So we utilize this to speed up the construction and also to eliminate or lessen the masonry works needed for the project, which is more time-consuming and labor-extensive. So our precast walls are prefixed, meaning they are integrated in the design of the slab, and before we pour the slab, the precast walls are already installed. Concreting works. The shoring works, like I said, we didn't remove the shoring works. We can remove it after 28 days or after the full cure of concrete. This is the final product. So lessons learned. Early contractor involvement benefits the client and the contractor. On how? Of course, better understanding of design, then implement correct construction methodology, which will benefit both contractor, designer, and client. It is not a perfect system, but it's better than the traditional system. And our contract with the client is a lump sum contract. It's a fixed price based on your prices during bid. And of course, it's open for variations and everything. But funding for this, I forgot to mention, this is a privately funded project because this is a private developer in our country. So funding came from private funding. Procurement. Actually, this is actually one of the most important. In procurement, we concentrated in what we can control, or what we call controllables, and this is timing. What is timing of procurement? Timing of procurement is knowing what your lead time is, when you need the materials to arrive on site. How long would it take? The logistics and everything that from manufacturing to delivery, how long would that take? That's timing. That we really studied how these materials will be effectively coming into site without causing any delays. And also partnerships. Of course, we had to talk to suppliers and subcontractors. We have to negotiate our terms of payment. Of course, that would help our cash flow. If we have better terms of payment, we can stretch out, or we have better cash flow for the project. And then the uncontrollable part of procurement is, of course, the market prices, because, of course, you cannot dictate that. That is being dictated by the market. What we can control in this market prices is the study of the trends on when to buy and when not to buy, of course. When will be the prices at its lowest, or when will the prices be at its highest? So that's what we study. And also for the sustainability practices of this project, actually this project is a silver LEED certified project, which means it has to meet certain criteria to be considered as a LEED sustainable project. So during design phase, the designer already incorporated these aspects so they could design the project in a more sustainable way, like proximity to other establishments, access to public transportation, bicycle facilities, which promotes green mobility. I mean, manual walking or biking, no need to use any motorized or any other cars, for example. And also the rainwater catchment, wastewater recycling, and all those systems they already implemented in design and in which we constructed. And also during a construction phase, this is where we come in. We had the materials management, of course, selection of sustainable and reusable materials. For waste management, we only used accredited disposal facilities, so we know that our construction waste will be disposed properly. And of course, the pollution control. Sustainability in construction has gone a long way, but we will still be going a longer way because in construction, we are still young in adapting sustainable methodologies, but it can be improved through collaboration and help of each other. As part of IFAWPCA's Emerging Young Leaders program, we are committed to utilize this platform to lead and inspire past and present generations to contribute in reaching our goal, in which is we have a more green planet. Thank you for your time and good afternoon.
Thank you, Mr. Angelo, for your presentation. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to invite on stage from Singapore Contractors Association, Mr. Xia. Please join me in welcoming him with a big, big round of applause. He'd also be sharing and talking about his project. Yes, the clicker. Oh.
Testing. Good afternoon, everyone. Namaste. Thank you so much for inviting Singapore Contractor Association for this conference and allowing us to join in. My name is Kahao, so it's at the base. I'm representing Singapore Contractor Association and my own, one of the companies I work in, Singapore Siak Kim Chok Construction. So today I'm going to talk about a project called Mount Rosie Road. But I want to make this presentation a bit more interactive. So can I invite you guys to take your phone out? Because later there'll be a QR code that you can scan. So perhaps you can learn more about each other and construction together. So about us, we are a landed house contractor. We build strata housing, low to mid-rise condos, and show flats in Singapore. So these are some of the projects that we do. So may I kindly invite you guys to bring your phone out to scan the code, because I really want to know what is sustainable infrastructure to you. I want to present such as aligned with the theme of today's convention. So if you scan it, you'll see that there's an option for you to answer it. So I would like to see how perhaps what the keywords of sustainable infrastructure is to you, and then I'll present more about it along the way as we go through the presentation. Okay, we got resilient, then there's a TGCA. I'm not very sure what that is. It might be a term in your own country. What else do we have? We have beautiful, we have green, we have long-lasting, we have, what else? We have 6 people online, and a lot of thumbs up. We have futuristic, environmentally friendly. Okay, maybe we'll give it another 10 more seconds because we've got 10 minutes for this presentation, all right? Okay, 10 more seconds for other comments. Anyone else? 9 people online now. Don't turn off your phone because there's 2 more questions for you guys to learn. So if you see at the back of this photo, this is our construction, right? Rebar, concrete casting, and this is what we are trying to do, save the environment from having less concrete, less steel involved, which in some ways make it more environmentally friendly with no harm to earth, perhaps more beautiful and more positive to the environment. So for this Mount Rosie project, we kind of did that, but not due to us, but due to the architect who was designing the project. So for Mount Rosie project, if you look on the left, it's actually a very big land in Singapore. In Singapore, you know, land is very sparse because we're just one island. So if we were to look at the size of the project and perhaps compare it to this hotel, what is the difference? In Mount Rosie Road, it is about 18,000 square meters. So that land in Singapore price is worth about 200 million US dollars. The landowner is very rich. For the Hyatt Regency Kathmandu, it's about 8.5 times bigger. So that's for visualization. It's 37 acres. So this is just a quick SketchUp overview of the site. So why do I choose this site? It's because it's very unique in Singapore that we have a land that is so big when we are so landlocked. And the land is actually very undulating. It's like a hill land, and it's actually a very old land in Singapore that you can hardly find. Quite similar to this hotel, because if you notice when we came up to this hotel, there's an upgoing hill, and as we go around different areas, it's all undulating. So this is another view. So if you look at the geometric lines on the green color spots, that's how the terrain is very uneven and different. And that actually makes our construction difficult, because construction is always easier on a flat ground, because the machineries can come in and out, so it makes it easier. So this is still under construction. What the landowner and the architect has planned was that they wanted to build only single-story, 6 single-story bungalows on that land, because they wanted to rent out in terms for land planning, such that they don't have to sell the land now, but they can still rent out for income. And that's where we came in to help them with the overall construction process. So this is another view of it. So it's worth about, in terms of size comparison, it's about 3 football fields. So we did finish one of the units, so this is how it looks like. They wanted it to be rented out to expats, and then they wanted it to be green, and a place for people to rest well. So about this project, why did I choose it, and in what way is it like a sustainable infrastructure? That's where I have to direct your attention to the left side of the photo. If you see that, there's a kind of like a small hill there, right? And it's actually a pond. It's called a dry pond. So due to the challenges faced, not just during construction, but even in the future, because of the large site, it's large and uneven, there'll be surface runoff in terms of storm water management, which is very hard for it to drain off to the nearby drains, and we don't want any flooding to appear to the site, so we have a dry pond there. And movement of vehicles is also another thing, because when you have a very hilly region, your excavators go up and down. Sometimes it may just collapse along the way if the gradient is too high. Okay, so because there are certain key points for me to touch in the presentation, can I just quickly ask for you guys, in terms of your country, what are your construction contract difficulties that perhaps you could list? We want to learn how other countries are similar to us or perhaps different from us. So you can refer back to the same QR code. And while you guys fill in the response, I'm going to talk about how it works for us. So in Singapore, we have the SIA lump sum contract. It's a Singapore Institute of Contract standardized contract, whereby we talk about preliminaries. We have standard preliminaries, whereby if you're awarded a project, you get 10% of the preliminaries first. So you could cover machinery, you could cover your manpower management, so on and so forth. We have variations, whereby, oh, see, we have alignment. In your country, variations too. So variations, how do you determine if the design change, you get paid for it? Because sometimes, no designer is perfect. If they design it wrongly, and you have to change it, the developer has to pay. Then the developer and the designer may say, that's not my problem, it's the contractor's problem. So in Singapore, we have our standardized contract that says that what is a variation, what isn't a variation, and who will get paid. Then we have design matters. So what happens if there's a wrong design? So they are all standardized contract clauses, which hopefully we can talk to you guys about in the 47 convention in Singapore. And then there's funding. Funding works very differently for different contractors in Singapore. For example, there are some that say that I want to invest all my profit in another project or another company. So when I get awarded a project, I will actually go to the bank to loan construction money to build it. But some contractors say, no, that's a bit risky. If I get a project, I will actually get the preliminaries, 10% first, to fund the project, and we have my own funds to continue, so I don't get any bank interest. So in terms of your country, there is budget issue, policy issue. Policy could be in terms of payment. How do you guarantee payment from your client? So we have a Security of Payment Act that the government enforces, such that if the client doesn't pay, you can go through a legal route. Within 1 month, they have to force the client to pay to you. Payment terms. For us, it's monthly payment terms, but for international projects, it might vary differently. And I have no idea what Jumla means, so I'm going to skip that. And perhaps there's a Nicholas Pandey here, I don't know. Yeah. So dry pond, why did I choose it? It's a unique technology, but it's a very old technology, actually. It was out in the 1950s. And there are 3 points I want to talk about. The second point will be procurement. Dry pond is easier because there's no concrete, no steel involved. It's an environmental engineering. The procurement that you need to do is in terms of the soil mixture and in terms of sloping the land. And then, of course, naturally, it's sustainable because no concrete, no steel. So let me explain what is a dry pond. It's basically a giant bathtub. If you're staying in a hotel, you see your bathtub, that is what it is, but it's on the side, and it collects the rainwater. Normally, in modern society, especially in landlocked societies like Singapore, we cannot build a dry pond. We don't have the space. We build a detention tank. So water collects from the internal drain, drains off to the detention tank, and there's a flow regulator that releases water slowly out so that the public drain doesn't flood and your road doesn't flood. But here in this project, yes, it is sustainable not to build a dry pond, detention tank, but a bigger reason is it is cheaper to build a dry pond. You don't have to spend on concrete and steel. So what happened here is that when it rains, this thing that looks like a grass garden, it floods into clean water pond, and then it slowly releases out into the public drain. So this is roughly how it looks. I'm going to cover really fast because we have a time schedule to meet. So we actually create a slope there, which is natural. We enhance the slope, and then we create a soil mixture at the bottom of the blue color line so that water retains there, but gradually it goes down the soil mixture and then slowly discharge out into the common drains. So on the left is how a dry pond looks like in a European country. On the right is the testing period, but it takes time for it to settle, so it doesn't look that good. So on the left, naturally this water will drain off slowly over time, and when it drains off, you just see pure grass. And it's a very specific type of grass that you need to use. So this is another dry pond within the site. Because the site is really big, this is bigger than your normal swimming pool, actually. So if we were to build a detention tank that's worth the size of a swimming pool, there's a lot of costs involved, possibly at least $1 million for this project. So the architect says, no, let's do a dry pond. Although very rare in Singapore, it will save a lot of money, and we create all these slopes to collect all the rainwater. So how do they do it? They plan it such that they look at the overall site. Remember I told you there's 6 bungalows? So you look at the pink areas, those are the 6 bungalows. The area around it is a catchment area. All the rainwater fall down onto it, and then it drains to the base of the site, which is at the bottom, where the dry pond is. The dry pond floods, and then water discharge slowly out. And for this slide, really quickly, look at the lines. This is the detail of the dry pond. So I want you to look at the lines and see that it leads to a rectangle, right? That rectangle is a drain within the dry pond that slowly discharges water out. So let me show you how the lines look like. This is how it looks like. It's subsoil pipe that we put under the soil, then we cover with soil mixture. So when the dry pond floods with water, it goes down to the soil, into the subsoil pipe, and then into the drain that you see at the top right, and then slowly out into the common drain. So recapping again, it is alternative to a detention tank. You save on the concrete and you save on the steel involved, but what you give up is a car park space, because in return, you can't have space that people walk on. Perhaps you have a very nice garden sort, but when it rains, you can't really use that space. And it really depends on your project or your country. Do you have that land space to build something like that? That is sustainable, but harder to build. So last question, QR code again. I hope to invite you guys to all scan it, perhaps more than 9 people. This is Singapore at the back, which we hope to host you guys in 2025. In fact, behind the trees, which are man-made by our local contractors, is Marina Bay Sands, which is where the convention is going to be held. So let us know what is construction of tomorrow for you, and perhaps we can integrate that into the 47 convention. So maybe 1 minute, please do scan the QR code. Let us know what is construction of tomorrow for you. Digitalization. Something that I can't read for now. Intergenerational. Hemcrete, I have no idea what that is, I'm sorry. Can we get us a few more, 30 more seconds, all right? Efficient. Skyscrapers, that's true. Because as we get more landlocked, our population increase, we need to build upwards. Or perhaps, some countries are exploring or building downwards into the basement. I think automation, or automation is automation, which has a lot to do with digitalization. The war, no idea. Efficient. AI integrated, agreeable, but perhaps AI is still developing. We can use ChatGPT, but perhaps not ChatGPT. We can't get a ChatGPT to run the construction site for us or to tie rebar for us, but maybe one day. 3D printing on construction, which I think we have started doing it, and we have precast construction, etc. So I believe eventually we'll get that. In Singapore, we 3D print furnitures. Okay, last 10 seconds, all right? Hopefully you got one more. All right, I think maybe no, so I'm gonna skip. So that's all from me. Thank you very much, and thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Mr. Shah, for the fun and interactive presentation. Thank you to the audience as well for participating and engaging in these questions. Now we are moving to the Taiwan General Contractors Association, and I would like to invite on stage Mr. Chang for his presentation first.
Hello everyone, I'm Chang Chia Chen from Taiwan TGCA. Good to see you. Today I'm going to share a construction experience. It's from Taiwan, Taichung, where I live, and sharing of the construction and management with residential buildings. The building is in the neoclassical architectural style from the moment of Art Deco. The building height is 14 floors above ground and 2 floors underground. Structure method, reinforced concrete construction. The total construction area is 11,500 square meters. Total construction cost $40 million, and it costs our 20 months for the building. Okay, the specific It's the first neoclassical building in the coastal region of Taichung City. The basement excavation method employs safe support and diaphragm wall construction techniques. The basement waterproofing method use a multi-layer waterproofing on the external walls. The last is, the project has also undergone government urban review and open green space review, achieving the sustainable concept of sharing green space and enhance the city's appearance with nearby residents. Here we can talk about the challenges. The first is, I think every construction business in these years, by COVID-19, we still face the labor shortages, and the construction costs have significantly increased. The third is the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic and the fold and the rebound in digital transformations, which I will talk about this later. And the last is the coordination between architects' design concept and the particle construction challenges. As you can see the chart, it talks about the historical changes in the construction cost index in Taiwan, which means CCI of October over the years. And as you can see, in the past 30 years, the CCI rate is from 16 to almost 140. In the statistic from 1992 to 2022. And what we learned, the first is involvement in government urban review and open green space review has led to many added construction periods and unforeseen costs. And what we learned is, before facing government review, it's really important to be carefully verify regulations and communicate with the architect in advance, which can effectively reduce the time spent on the review and the modifications. Lesson 2, the labor shortage caused by the pandemic has extended the construction period, and the quality of work crews has been difficult to maintain due to the insufficient manpower. And currently, our organization, Taiwan Regional Construction Association, TGCA, has successfully advocated with the government for us to be able to apply for legal foreign labor in conjunction with the comprehensive education, training, and placement policies. This can effectively reduce the labor shortage in our country's construction industry. Okay. Lesson 3, due to the constructional design requirement and plan, the frequent inability to provide a detailed drawing from often leads to on-site difficult and increased costs. And how we solve it? Construction company must establish a driving unit and synchronize the update of drawing and the creation of construction plan digitally to ensure that the integration of information between the architect and the construction site is immediately and synchronized. The last one is, when the house is complete and ready to be handed over to the client, the lack of clear regulatory standards for the quality of house delivery in Taiwan's current laws leads to difficulties and increase the cost in the handover process. And introducing digital cloud-based construction inspection system, as well as house inspection and handover systems, can significantly reduce the information gap between clients, engineers, subcontractors, and construction supervisors, speeding up the allocation of repair work and the house handover time. Okay, now I will introduce why we use a house inspection system cloud platform. And the question is always why can we synchronize collaborative work? The first step, construction customer service, they will do the on-site handwriting and record which part and which point need to be fixed or changed, and then log into Excel. That's what we always do, and then print. Okay. The second is construction supervisor. They always receive some documents, and I'm able to track progress item by item. It causes too many documents. The third is when we deliver the issue to the subcontractor, they always, I'm able to report completion in real time, and it still makes too many paper documents. And last, customers, they always feel I'm able to know the progress of defeat verification in real time. And it's a problem we can face. A time difference due to the lack of digital management. The traditional method of recording construction and decide may be faster and initially. However, the subsequent fitting the summarize of duplications and issues take too much more time. Although the initial data set up for a digital cloud system takes more time, the subsequent summarized of issue, coronations of work dispatch, and the final construction report can all be complete synchronously. This will significantly reduce the time spent on tracking and organizing informations. Okay. And its application shows overused construction site mobile phone station for taking photos instantly, which means we can use our mobile, and with the application on site, we can take any question, any problem of issues, and transfer to the system cloud platform immediately. It takes you just 30 to 6 minutes, and the first is mobile login, and select the unit type because we have a lot of units, and then make the location, make the problem, and make in the drawings. And the last is take photo and upload. And at the same time, we can synchronize all the information between any areas. Okay, this is our performance photos of this case. It's a unit, so when we transfer the unit to our client, we face a lot of problems, and we use the cloud platform to fix it. Okay, the last conclusion. First, perfected construction method and techniques, integration and coordination capabilities with upstream and downstream partners, accurately grasp the direction of government regulation and technical rules, and keep up with the pace of digital transformation and cloud management. Last is achieve the goal of sustainable business operation. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Zhang. I would now like to invite on stage Mr. Lee from Taiwan General Contractors Association for his presentation.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Eugene Lee from TGCA and also a general manager of Gangwei Construction in southern Taiwan, which is in Tainan and Kaohsiung. What I wanna present in the project sharing case is air product plants in Taiwan who manufacture some rare gas like nitrogen and liquid hydrogen and some rare gas who deliver to some high-tech technology company like semiconductor, as you know, TSMC. What we contracted before our company entering in technology high-tech projects, we are the public project provider, the service provider in Taiwan as well. And the project we contracted with Air Products, the project name is the Air Product Plan we call NKA, NK9 and F22. And for the kickoff years is around 2020, between 2020 to 2022. And the project scale is around $250 million US. And two projects is located in Tainan and other two are in Kaohsiung. And the scope is a turnkey project because our client don't like to adjust the budget, as you know. The manpower is around 1,000 workers per day, and the project objective is our client is really focusing on to complete the project on time and on budget. So from this slide is a NKA project which located in Southern Taiwanese Science Park. Is just in front of TSMC. So they install some underground pipe and some manufacturing plant for nitrogen, hydrogen, and some storage plant, storage tank by installing the pipe on the pile racks. So this is the aerial photography we took like every week to control the progress. So the next one is we call NK9. Sorry, didn't show up the picture. How to get backward? Sorry, the other picture disappeared, but it's fine. It's still another aerial photography. So this one is the ongoing project we are under construction. And this is a mega project in Asia. I think this is the most, one of the large-scale gas plant I think in China and Taiwan. So it's still for producing some nitrogen, hydrogen, and some rare gases. And they all decide to find a land just nearby the semiconductor factory. During these 3 years, we entering in technology projects. We face some challenges. So our client like to issue tons of change orders weekly, and we all face manpower shortage like everyone faces. Integration issue between the parallel contractors. And because we don't have lots of experiences on the mega projects, it's around like $250 million US. We have to complete the project within a year. So we do like 2 shifts of the workers and provides unlimited buffet and some beverage for them to light the encouraged item. So, and also the character, very special character for high-tech plant is safety. They all really focusing on safety work. So before entering the high technology projects job site, we have to wear the glove, helmet, vest, shoes, and also have to verify your face because we set all the recognition system on the entrance. So I don't know we are very successful, but just want to share some experience. So we have a lot of strong leadership and ownership and team building monthly by, I think, go to karaoke and do some team building. And also we do some daily supervision and integrity with our function head, combined with our resource and weekly aerial photography. So for the financial perspective, we have enough cash on hand. So because we are really conservative and don't want to push too hard. So monthly pay by the client on time is very important for us. And we request our subcontractor to be conservative as well for their cash flow. And the lesson learned, I think as a general contractor, the relationship management is very important. And familiar with local construction code, the governor and client specifications, because every agency, every client has their own specs. And focusing on the main milestones, handling and coordination between subcontractor, client, and team member. So this is the weekly report. I just took it from them. Because our clients really monitor the safety record. So as you see from this slide, we already complete around 624,000 hours since the project started, and only have 2 near-miss cases and 1 recordable case. So we really put a lot of resource and money on training the workers to has a safety concept. And this is a manpower progress curve table. So as you see the orange line, so orange line is the actual manpower number, and the green line is a projected number. So from week 62 to week 64, we are almost like triple the projected number. So that's why our clients are satisfied. This is a S-curve, what we use to catching up the milestone. So from the project's kickoff, we are almost the same from the projected curve. And then we got a little bit late. Then we increased some manpower by combining some neighborhood from Aboriginal people to join our workers team. So we are almost like catching up all milestones in November 2023. So from this picture, this is a mega project I just mentioned in Kaohsiung, Taiwan. They are like more than 14 buildings in one job site. So we hire more than 36 supervisors, engineers, consultants to manage this project simultaneously. So the conclusion I want to share is the project team really have strong ownership and disciplined material management, and we also control and monitor the entrance for the people get enter or out. And also the last word I want to share is harmony brings wealth. 和气生财. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lee, for your presentation. And as we come towards our last presenter for this Emerging Young Leaders presentation schedule, may I please invite on stage Mr. Saurav Sharma from Federation of Contractors Association of Nepal for his presentation.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. I'd like to welcome you all to Nepal. Thank you so much for being a part of this 46th IFAWPCA convention. It's a pleasure having you all here and getting this opportunity to host. So, first of all, I'd like to thank my president, who is not here right now, for nominating me to give this presentation. But I'd like to give a disclaimer which is, while we're talking about the successes of a lot of construction projects that are going on abroad and in Nepal, I'd also like to talk about the challenges we face, because I see a lot of influential faces here. So I hope to bring light to some of the problems that we are facing in the construction industry, and hopefully we can talk a bit more about those in forums like these. So I want to give you a brief introduction on the contribution of the construction industry in Nepal. Most of the other presentations I saw were based on private projects. In Nepal, I think public funded projects hold more than 95% contribution in the construction industry in Nepal. Overall, Nepal as a developing country has a huge scale and scope in infrastructure growth. So as you can see, in the last 2 decades, we've seen tremendous growth. More than 23,000 construction companies are registered in Nepal, out of which maybe 1,000 are active. And we're classified in different classes, ranging from A to D, depending on our turnover, experience, and all sort of things. So looking at the GDP of Nepal, construction industry holds around 7% contribution in the GDP, which is pretty big. And even though the GDP in the construction sector has decreased, overall it still holds a huge part of the GDP and also the budget. And the construction industry has employed more than 1.5 million people, where a lot of them are from India and other countries, mostly skilled laborers. Okay, good. So, like how I started, I want to talk a bit about public funded projects in Nepal. Most of our projects are either Government of Nepal funded, World Bank, ADB, and some other funds from development agencies. So recently we've had a brief change in our procurement methods. The government has encouraged more domestic contractors to participate in larger scale projects, learning more from some of the foreign contractors. So thank you, President. So the new procurement guideline that was set forth not more than a year ago restricted foreign companies actually to bid in projects that are less than 5 billion Nepali rupees. But that does not, it's not implemented in the ADB and World Bank and other development agency funded projects. Type of contract we use mostly is item rate contracts. We're slowly moving into design, build, and EPC, but we're still focused mostly on item rate contracts. So now moving a bit into successful construction projects. So exactly what is a successful project? So we thought of 4 points that would basically represent successful projects in Nepal. So 1, the project has a certain need that it fulfills. Number 2, the project is completed on time. Number 3, the project is within budget. And number 4, the quality meets the required minimum standards. And then again, factors influencing a successful construction project. So this is what I want to talk a bit more in depth about. So most of my contractor friends here from Nepal obviously participate in projects looking to successfully complete them on time. But there are factors that hamper those progress sometimes, which leads to overruns of cost and times. So first of all, when we're talking about a successful construction project, we need to talk about the preparedness. So the EIA, IE, DPR, how thorough the design of the project is the budget there allocated there for the project? Second, we're talking about procurement method. Why this is important is, as I mentioned, 95% or more of our construction projects are public funded projects. So you want to select the right consultant, the right designer, and the right contractor to implement those projects, which is why we need effective procurement method. Another thing is that you want to invite tenders in a certain model, right? So EPC, item rate, design build, which holds a crucial part in the success of a project. The next thing would be availability of site and surroundings. This is a major problem in lots of projects in Nepal. Sites aren't available. There's still some preparedness work to be going on, land acquisition, pole shifting, tree cutting. Tree cutting, I just want to bring light, in Nepal is a huge problem. So this is just an example of things that we need to do before we go into the execution stage. Then we come into execution of the project for a successful project, right? So we need a proper execution of the project, which includes a short budget, some timely decision making, because in my experience, which is not that long, but still quite vast, is that no construction project is finished the way that it is initially imagined during the design phase. During construction, there's always going to be some changes here and there. So if we get those decisions on time, that usually speeds up the whole implementation process, the execution process. So if we're talking about, say, a road project, then there might be an alignment change. That is a sort of a decision making. We might be talking about variations or other design change. And the last thing would be proper usage and maintenance, because each project has its certain design standards. And does the execution, does the use of the project meet those design standards, or are they being pushed beyond its limits? And the next is maintenance, because when you're constructing a project, you need to make sure that you're maintaining it well. So one of the examples I am going to use to describe this would be the Madan Mandari Highway project. So this, so just to give you a brief idea on where this stands, so Nepal, the southernmost highway that's close to India is the Postal Highway. Then we have the east-west highway right north to it, which is the Mahendra Highway. And then we have the Madan Mandari Highway, which is briefly, it's a recently new sort of envisioned highway. So it's envisioned and started by the then Council of Ministers in 2018. So this is important. So 2018, not that long ago, for basically two objectives. So basically the first objective was to provide a permanent access to connect the quarry areas, which is sort of on the hilly side of Nepal, within the Churia regions and the inner Tarai Valley. And the second objective is to connect the industrial corridors. Big cities, major cities such as Dharan, Gaighat, Hetauda, Bharatpur, Ghorai, Surkhet. These cities have great potential in industrial production and also mining resources such as limestone, coal, iron, etc. So at that time, the approx estimated cost of the project was 75 billion Nepali rupees. And they had estimated that 6.3 million people would benefit within 2024. So as you can see the purpose, when I was mentioning the 4 success factors of a project, the first was the purpose. Why is that project being built? And you can see why with the 2 objectives and sort of the result that they had estimated at that time. So why was this project a success? Some of the major milestones that was achieved by 2021, and I'm using 2021 because that's the latest data we have, is so 240 kilometers out of the 740 kilometer of road was already blacktop. 77 bridges were completed. 98 kilometer road upgrading contracts were being awarded and executed, and similarly 31 bridge contracts were being awarded and executed. So started in May 2018, and by 2021, we have all these successes. So I think this is quite, it was a good project. It was approached in a good manner, which is why I'm using it for this presentation. So I want to use a certain sector of that project to give more idea. And our company was part of this project, which is why I have more in-depth exposure with this individual project. So we did the change from 43,800 in Birendra Chowk to 177,610 in Biman. So the total length was 133.8 kilometers. Source of fund. This is a government of Nepal funded project. So the standard bidding document was released in their the government of Nepal's Public Procurement Act methods. The contractor was Zedaichi Sharma Lama. So as you can see, a lot of cooperation with foreign contractors goes on in Nepal, and that's what we did for this particular project. Is we had a joint venture with a Chinese company, ZIEC in China, and we had 2 local partners, so Sharma & Company and Lama Construction Company. So the original contract duration for this whole project, which was approximately 7.4 billion when it was awarded, so the original contract duration was 3 years, starting from November 2016. So technically, it was supposed to end by November 2019, but it went up to April 2021. And that is because of COVID. We had COVID towards the end of the project, around 2019 and 2020, we had a lot of impacts of COVID in Nepal. So that's what caused the time extension for the project. And the contract amount at completion was 7.6 billion. So the other 2 factors that I was talking during the success of the project is completed in time and within budget. So as you can see, even though it went a bit beyond time, it was for reasons beyond the control of the contractor, and it was sort of pretty close within budget. And what made this project successful? So, like I said, the purpose of the project was clear. The alignment was finalized by the government at that time, and that avoids a lot of issues because they were going into newer areas. There was no highways in that particular chainage. It was a pretty virgin area, so land acquisition was easy, tree cutting was formalized, all these processes that were supposed to be done before the tender was released was already done. And the government knew that they couldn't tackle the entire alignment together at once because of multiple reasons. So what they did was they sort of opened branch offices and then started dividing different sections of the project. And then important sections of the project were prioritized back then, which is why the preparations for those was done in full swing, and those projects were tendered before the rest. The contractor selection process was well thought out, along with the package size and the contract type, which made it a success. The budget was well allocated because the contractor needs their payment on time in order to get their capital going and project moving. Decisions were made on time because, as you know, it was a new project, so there was always new challenges along each stretch, and the decisions were being made on time, which really helped the contractor execute their work without any delays. Another major problem in Nepal is basically coordination between different implementing agencies and also the different level of government. So right now, we have 3 government levels. Back then, I think it was still limited to 2, or at least 2 had major involvements in it, which is the local government and the central government. So a lot of a lot of responsibility sharing that goes on creates conflict sometimes. For example, sometimes local governments are responsible for material extraction, whereas the central government is responsible for budget allocation. So all these different coordination that needs to be going on, it was done very well at the time. There was support from the local and the central government, so land acquisition, tree cutting, material extraction, they were all quite facilitated. And another very important thing that we felt during the execution of that contract was that the contract document, so the clients strictly adhered to the contract document. Why I'm mentioning this now is that in Nepal, we see different sorts of contract documents. For example, if we're working for development agency projects, we're working usually under FDIC guidelines. Nepal has their own sort of contract guidelines, sort of a spin-off from the FDIC guidelines, but still a lot of crucial differences. And these days, because of multiple reasons, we see sometimes even the employer is sometimes steering away from the contract document, which obviously causes a lot of problem during contract execution. So at that time, this was good because the employer was strictly adhering to the contract document. So some other observations that I made personally during the execution of that contract was that the budget and the estimate was allocated properly. For example, the employer sometimes has a certain idea in their mind about how they want the contract to be executed. And that's what they should put inside the budget and the estimate and the designs, everything going on. But during implementation phase, they steer away from it. So for example, if we're talking about environmental protection issues or dust control or health safety guidelines, we have a certain guideline that the employer wants us to follow, but at the same time, their preparation when they're sort of planning out the project is not being done in that particular way, which creates obviously problems for the contractor during execution. So some other observations I made during the execution was that since it was a new track, there was less settlement and no traffic issues. Otherwise, it is recommended to carefully include diversion and other temporary costs during budgeting. Second is also should include costs for environmental protection and control that need to be implemented in high traffic or settlement areas. So the fourth success factor I talked about was usage and maintenance of the project. So Nepal's now following a new performance maintaining guideline, which is performance-based maintenance. So the contractor is responsible for a certain period of time, say 3 years, 5 years, for which they're responsible for maintaining the project that they executed, for which they are well compensated. So this is all planned out before the tendering phase, and the contractor knows exactly what they're doing, what they're building, and how long they're going to have to sort of maintain it for. And at the same time, this whole sector, even though I spoke about a particular sector, this whole time the government was focusing on the other chainage parts of the entire 740 kilometers of highway. So they were preparing other sectors, including IE, EIA, which is the environmental impact analysis that we have to perform before we run into any project. Land acquisition and design, they were all going on simultaneously. So you could see that this project was a priority of the government, and they were actually putting in well thought and doing all the things that was necessary. So I apologize where I did not speak about a particular project with innovative things that we did. But having this platform to speak on and having this experience for the last few years of being in the construction industry, I thought it was very important for us when we're together with all the other member countries to sort of learn from their procurement guidelines or sort of their executing and implementing or their funding methods. Because as I mentioned, in Nepal, most of the construction budget goes into the public funded projects, and the private sector holds a very small part of this overall revenue of this construction industry. Thank you.
Thank you very much to Mr. Saurav Sharma for giving us an overview through his presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, thank you very much for being a part of this event where we gave space to emerging young leaders to talk about the projects that they have done and how they also imagine sustainable infrastructure. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now be taking a short 15 minutes break, and during this time, please feel free to grab a cup of coffee or tea, and please be back as we will start our panel discussion. We have some amazing young entrepreneurs and young leaders from the Nepali construction sector who will also be presenting and talking about their ideas and their thoughts. So requesting all our distinguished delegates to kindly be back in the next 15 minutes inside this hall.